they needed to make a lot of changes, but probably they should have done better in the summer transfer window, because we know that the winter transfer window should be some sort of adjustment, not where you make the big decisions like they did this winter.
Let's focus on the transfer window in Italy now. Here are the notable incoming players to Serie A this winter. It's AC Milan, who were pretty busy, bringing Kyle Walker in from Manchester City on loan, and he performed well at the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He performed very well. So did Kolo Muani. Obviously, scoring goals has not been a problem since he's arrived in that Juventus jersey. But Santi Jimenez, for that type of a price tag, eventually finding his way to Italian football.
In terms of outgoing transfers, it's Dorgu from Lecce, who went all the way over to Manchester United in the Premier League. Ben Godfrey as well on loan. Alvaro Morata leaving AC Milan on loan to go and play in Turkey. Bit of a surprise, that one?
Yeah, big decision obviously for Morata to make that type of a move, but Dorgu's price tag to go obviously from Lecce to Manchester United is absolutely enormous, and Italian football doesn't disappoint when it comes to these transfers. There's always a surprise or two.
Yeah, I think Lecce will be happy with that one. Let's speak to our Italian correspondent Francesco Porzio to get some more on this. Francesco, lovely to see you. We'll start with AC Milan. As we said, they were pretty busy. What did you make of their business? Do you think they improved their team? Because they kind of needed improvements, didn't they, the way they've been playing this season?
Yeah, I mean, for sure they needed an improvement. They needed a revolution, and there was a revolution, a big revolution in the club, I think, because I don't remember a single club making so many signings in one day. I'm counting João Felix today, I'm counting Bondo from Monza, Riccardo Stottil is the latest one. We are waiting for the official confirmation for those, but they're making a big revolution. And that's also a few days after you were mentioning Santiago Jimenez coming from Feyenoord, replacing the main striker in the January transfer window. That's something really, really unexpected. I think a lot has to do with also the new coach, who is Sergio Conceição, who just arrived and replaced Paulo Fonseca 1 month ago, basically. So the question is, probably it's too late, but maybe there is also something going on at the club, because yes, they had to make these signings. Yes, they needed to make a lot of changes, but probably they should have done better in the summer transfer window, because we know that the winter transfer window should be some sort of adjustment, not where you make the big decisions like they did this winter.
Francesco, we're hearing that Ismail Benacer might be on his way from AC Milan over to Marseille. What's the latest on this one? Has it been confirmed yet?
It's not confirmed, it's not official. I mean, maybe yes as we speak, but it's not yet. It's waited to be on Tuesday in Marseille, but yes, it's confirmed the player will go to Olympique Marseille. And that's why AC Milan are signing Bondo from Monza for around 10 million. So there are a lot of things happening at the club. Riccardo Stottil is also a name that will arrive at the club from Fiorentina. Despite the fact that Samu Chukwueze is expected to stay, so he won't join Fulham as it was rumored a few hours ago. Let's see what will happen in the next days. We know that there are some other markets open, like the Turkish one, the Portuguese one, but he's expected to stay at the club. But of course, the biggest deal of the day is the one of João Felix, probably the most unexpected one of the best deals, I would say, around Europe as well. And that's we are here. We see in the graphics also Santiago Jimenez, Kyle Walker already played against Inter on Sunday, and then João Felix will be very, very interesting, I think, because it's going to be a reunion with another Portuguese manager, who is, of course, Sergio Conceição, but then also Rafael Leao, so they will play together, and it's an exciting attacking line with also Christian Pulisic, of course, playing on the right.
Can I ask you about Santiago Jimenez? Obviously, we know him in North America incredibly well. For Mexico, he's not necessarily shown his greatest performances. And he did take his time to make the decision as to where his next move would be away from Feyenoord. I think it's 65 goals he scored at the club, and at times he scored some big goals. But there's a lot of pressure that comes with wearing that AC Milan jersey. How did this transfer eventually go down? I mean, how on earth did AC Milan, of all clubs, convince him that this would be the next step in his journey?
I think it's important to mention, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the Redbird advisor, said that before the Inter game, that he was one of the names followed in the summer. I don't know if you remember, AC Milan followed a lot of names for a striker in the summer. João Felix was also one of those. Santiago Jimenez was one of those. Joshua Zirkzee was one of those. But then they decided to sign Alvaro Morata. They decided to go for more than an experienced striker with European experience that could bring a lot of, something that other players could learn from. The Morata spell wasn't successful for both AC Milan and Morata, so that's why they decided to part ways. I think also he had to do with the relationship he had with Conceição that wasn't great at all. And that's why they decided to go back with, probably they go back in the summer and said, okay, what we were thinking before signing Morata. And Jimenez was one of the first names they had in their mind. So they just went back to Feyenoord, started the conversation, started the deal, and it was very quick because the player was very keen to move to AC Milan. And there is a lot of expectation right now, as always, around the AC Milan striker, which is always a difficult place to be, a difficult role to play, because after, Zlatan Ibrahimovic himself, Olivier Giroud, now he has a difficult role to play. But there are a lot of expectations, but I think AC Milan they can't wait to see him playing for the Milan jersey.
Francesco, it's interesting when you look at the teams that are chasing the Scudetto. Apart from AC Milan, I suppose they're out of the title race, aren't they? But they spent some money in this transfer window. Kolo Muani went to Juventus. But other than that, the top teams were pretty quiet, weren't they, in this transfer window? Do you think any of them will perhaps regret that?
I think Antonio Conte is already regretting that because, Napoli, they decided to sell. Not decided, but they had to sell basically Kvaratskhelia to Paris Saint-Germain because the player decided to leave Napoli in the middle of an exciting season for the club. So there was a bit of unexpected probably for Napoli fans, and the same Antonio Conte, who didn't seem very happy about this outgoings. So the fact that Napoli did not replace Kvaratskhelia. Yes, they will sign Okafor from AC Milan, another AC Milan player who is moving today. Sorry, but there are too many to remember at the same time. Replacing Kvaratskhelia with Okafor is not what Antonio Conte wanted probably at the beginning of this transfer window. Probably Napoli, they were saving the money for another signing in the summer, because what happened with Alejandro Garnacho, who the clubs couldn't find agreement, then Karim Adeyemi decided to not join the Italian Serie A for personal reasons. So there was a lot of troubles for Napoli in this January transfer window. So at the end, they decided probably to wait for the summer and make the right choice in the summer. I don't think that's a bad choice at all, but probably in the short term, that's not what Napoli needed and not what Conte wanted, of course. So let's see what will happen in the next few days, but I'm sure he's not that happy about this decision. And then we have Inter. Inter, of course, they have a different situation. They due also to financial reasons, they don't have the resources to spend a lot of money in January. And that's why they just went for a winger, Nicola Zalewski, who was quite important against AC Milan as he assisted the goal of Stefan de Vrij. But they were not going for another big player, another striker or something else in January. So they will wait for the summer. Actually, they already signed Sucic from Dinamo Zagreb for next season, but that's something for next season, for next summer. But in the short term, they just got Zalewski.
I want to talk about the relegation battle as well, because there is a team called Como who are in that relegation battle. They're just slightly out of it right now. They've been one of the more active sides in this transfer window, and they're certainly not frightened of splashing the cash. How impressed have you been with the business that they've done? I mean, Cesc Fabregas is putting out a very entertaining product on the field. They're fun to watch. They've got a lot of fight in that relegation battle, but they seem to be making some smart moves as well.
And I think that's just a start, because Como are not there to impress, and I think they want to make a lot of movements also in next summer. I think they want to make a statement saying that, yes, we are here, we are back in the Serie A, but that's different right now. There is a different project, different ownership. There is something different right now happening at Como. And yes, the signings were impressive, of course, for the money they spent. Also for the name of Dele Alli, of course, is the most notable one. But I was more impressed about a signing that didn't go through. It was a rumor, but it was kind of confirmed by many parties involved, which is they actually tried to sign Theo Hernandez this winter from AC Milan. And they tried to spend at least 40 million to convince the club and also to convince the player to join AC Milan, to join Como. The player was not convinced at all to join Como, also because he's playing at AC Milan. So he's one of the most important players for the club, also the captain in some occasions. So it's a key player for AC Milan. But that tells you a lot about the ambitions of Como they have, not just for this season, but also for the long-term future. And I think Cesc Fabregas is very happy to be there because there is a lot to do at the club, and it's just the beginning for Como.
Francesco, we got news just breaking right now that Noah Okafor is making a move on loan to Napoli, the club you were just talking about right now from AC Milan. Noah Okafor making that move. It's just been announced by Napoli. What is your initial thoughts?
It's an interesting signing, of course. As I was mentioning before, I don't think that's what Antonio Conte wanted, to be honest, at the beginning of this winter transfer window. After Kvaratskhelia joined Paris Saint-Germain, that's a short move kind of option for Napoli. They needed, of course, a player there because, of course, they played just one competition, but they just have David Neres and Matteo Politano as wingers. So they needed something else also for some backup options. So it's something that they needed. They tried to sign different players. I mentioned before Garnacho, I mentioned Adeyemi, but also they tried to sign some Maximin, but things got a bit difficult also because some players issues in the contract. So it was a bit of a complicated deal to make it happen in the last final day of deadline day. So that's why they decided to go for something that, you know, it's quite easy to get because it's a player that already plays in Italian Serie A. And I'm waiting to see what Napoli will do in the summer, because I'm sure that regardless what will happen in the last month of the title race, if Napoli will win the championship or not, I think they will go in for a big winger, big important player to replace, of course, Kvaratskhelia, who was probably the signing of the January transfer window in general around Europe.
Francesco, great stuff. Thanks so much for joining us and staying up late there in Italy to speak to us. Great stuff.
Grazie.
Thank you.